George, now that you've learned to play the sitar, do you expect to learn any more instruments?
I haven't learned to play the sitar. I mean, Ravi Shankar hasn't learned to play, and he's been playing it 35 years.
Do you feel that Indian music will be more influential in the future of rock and roll or pop music?
Well, I don't know. I personally hope it will become more, there'll be more Indian influences in, just generally in any music, because it's worth it. It's very good music. I'd just like to see it more popular, more people appreciating it.
Can we talk about your music a little bit? You've gone a long way from I Want to Hold Your Hand to Eleanor Rigby. And the raga and so on. What direction are you trying to move your music?
The thing, we're just trying to move it in a forward direction. And this is the point, this is why we're getting in all these messes with saying things. Because, we're just trying to move forward. And people seem to be trying to just sort of hold us back and not want us to say anything that's vaguely sort of, inflammatory. I mean, we won't, if people don't want that, then we won't do it. We'll sort of just do it privately. But I think it's better for everyone if we're just honest about the whole thing.
Like the dresses to John and Paul, you write a lot of stuff that other people steal from you and also purchase from you in different arrangements, Ella Fitzgerald and a lot of these Boston Pops and stuff like that. When you listen to this on the radio or records and stuff, how do you feel about them using your pieces and changing them around to suit their styles?
Depends how they do it,
The thing is, they don't steal it.
No, I know that.
Well, you just said they did.
Well, sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's, once we've done a song and it's published, anyone can do it. So, whether we like it or not depends on whether they've done it to our taste.
Paul, how often have you taken LSD?
Well, 4 times.
And where did you get it from?
Oh, if I was to say where I got it from, it's illegal and everything. It's silly to say that, so I'd rather not say that.
Don't you believe that this was a matter which you should have kept private?
But the thing is, that I was asked a question by a newspaper. And the decision was whether to tell a lie or to tell him the truth, I decided to tell him the truth. But I really didn't want to say anything, because if I'd had my decision, if I had it my way, I wouldn't have told anyone, because I'm not trying to spread the word about this. But the man from the newspaper is the man from the mass medium, I'll keep it a personal thing. If he does too, if he keeps it quiet. But he wanted to spread it, so it's his responsibility, for spreading it, not mine.
But you're a public figure, and you said it in the first place, and you must have known that it would have made the newspapers.
Yes, but to say it, is only to tell the truth. I'm telling the truth, I don't know what everyone's so angry about.
Well, do you think you have now encouraged your fans to take drugs?
I don't think it'll make any difference, I don't think my fans are going to take drugs just because I did, But the thing is, that's not the point anyway, I was asked whether I had or not. And then from then on, the whole bit about how far it's going to go and how many people it's going to encourage is up to the newspapers and up to you, on television. I mean, you're spreading this now at this moment. This is going into all the homes, in Britain. And I'd rather it didn't, But you're asking me the question. You want me to be honest. I'll be honest,
But as a public figure, surely you've got a responsibility to lots and
No,
lots
it's
of
you've
teenagers.
got the responsibility. You've got the responsibility not to spread this now. I'm quite prepared to keep it as a very personal thing, if you will too. If you'll shut up about it, I will.
One of the disc jockeys in the local area said that one of the songs, I believe it was Rain, was recorded backwards. The last 2 boys. Is this true? And if so, whose idea was it?
It is true. And after we'd done the session on that particular song, it ended about 4 or 5 in the morning, I went home with a tape to see what else you could do with it. And I couldn't, I was sort of very tired and not knowing what I was doing really. And I just happened to put it on my own tape recorder and it came out backwards and I liked it better. So that's how it happened.
I'd like to ask this question of the most handsome member, Mr. Starr.
Oh,
Mr. Starr, what do you think your basic appeal is to the younger generation?
Don't know.
Liveliness.
Maybe my smile.
of you care to comment on any aspect of the war in Vietnam?
We don't like it. No.
Snappy, you think?
I've elaborated enough, you know. Just don't like it, you know.
It's just war's
Don't like
wrong,
war.
and it's obvious it's wrong, and that's all there is to be said about it. We can elaborate in England.
This question is directed to Paul and John. You have written quite a few numbers for Peter and Gordon, and I understand they don't like it because they think that it's you writing the song that makes it popular. Do you plan to write any more songs for them?
They, if we write songs for, they ask us to write songs for them if we do it. I mean, they don't mind it. They like it, but it's... People come up and say, we see you just getting in on the Lennon-McCartney bandwagon. That's why they did that one with our names not on it, Woman. Because everyone sort of thinks that's the reason they get hits. It's not true, really.
Both of you seem very, very close. What's your secret?
It's called love.
And
Yeah. I mean, we've had previous marriages, and that's what they're the ones you're talking about. Whether you get married or not is up to yourself, you know. But love is our secret, you know, and there's nothing that splits that up. You know? I mean, you've got to work on it. Like, it is a precious gift, and it's a plant, and you've got to look after it and water it. And you can't just sit on your backside and think, oh well, we're in love, so that's all right, you know. But that's the secret, you know. It's all true, folks. All you need is love.
When you're not actually working on an album with your three partners, how often do you see each other?
We usually pass through each other's arms in the office, the Apple office, you know. There's usually one other Beatle up on some other floor, you know, arranging his life. I usually see him then. Or if there's a premiere for Ringo, I'll go along, you know, things like that. And it depends where George gets his new house. You know, if he gets it near, I'll see more of him. And I've got a feeling I'll see more of George because he's mixing around with the musicians, you know, and if I don't know who's a particularly good drummer or anything like that, I always use George. So, you know, say, like he originally got me Eric and Klaus and Alan White, you know, that kind of thing. I don't know one from the other most of the time. And so I usually see more of him, you know.
You don't question towards Paul and to John. I understand you're...
Right, David.
I understand you're Dylan fans.
We all
are you?
All of us are.
You all
Even
Dylan
George
fans?
and I like
Even
him.
George and
Even
Ringo.
me, yeah.
Even George and Ringo like him.
Is that right?
Even the non-musical members of the group.
In a few moments, the Beatles will receive an award from the hands of Mr. Alan Livingston, president of Capitol Records. This award will be the coveted gold record awarded by the Record Industry Association of America in behalf of the Beatles' latest soundtrack album entitled Help. To qualify for gold record status, $1 million worth of sales are required, and this level was achieved in scarcely 2 weeks after the release of the album.
Give us the money.
That will be 7 out of 7 for the Beatles, 7 gold records for 7 albums released. By Monday, we expect to receive notification of the gold record status for the latest single, also entitled Help. Now, to perpetuate that Midas touch with gold records, Mr. Alan Livingston.
I might say that Capitol Records, which is just a little bit older than any of you, has never in its history experienced the phenomena of the speed of your success, nor the depth of your success, nor the continuity of your success. Going way back to our first hit record of Ella Mae Morris's Cow Cow Boogie, which was recorded before you were born, and right up to the present. It's something which will probably go down in history, and I'm very happy to continue this habit of presenting you with the gold record.
Thanks very
much.
I'm glad you've got 4. I'm fed up with fighting.
Thanks very much.
You know, I don't believe I have great musical ability or great lyrical ability. And I have a bigger problem than that, is because of my influence from Indian music and the whole spiritual thing, is that I don't see the point to writing most songs. Like, most people will write, I could write hundreds of songs, you know, hey baby, what you gonna do? You know, that I could churn them out, but I don't want to. If I'm gonna say something, I'd like it to have some kind of importance, some value, so that, you know, in 20 years' time, it's not just some dumb song that made, you know, some royalties. I mean, the royalties are nice, but it would be good to be able to have something a little deeper.
You know, you want to just write it so that, you know, I mean, you don't want to milk it into some huge big thing. No, of course. I mean, I'd prefer you were to be honest about it. No, that's not. You know, there's nothing worse than, you know, bullshit, you know what I mean? And then all it does is, it means everybody else starts phoning up, and then they want their version of it, you know? I'm sorry, I mean, we're all going to die one day, but I'm not going to die for you quite yet. You wouldn't want that. Well, you never know. I think it makes a good story, doesn't it?
You know, maybe Radio Luxembourg if the weather's fine. You know, this is the thing I don't like. It's the Monopolies Commission. Now, if anybody, you know, Kodak or somebody is cleaning up the market with film, the Monopolies Commission, the government send them in there and say, you know, you're not allowed to monopolize. Yet, when the government's monopolizing, who's going to send in, you know, this commission to sort that lot out? Britain, in a way, you know, it cuts its own throat. Just from my experience of Britain, it's, you know, it's on every level, you know, from your tax right down into every little speck of business. The British government's policy seems to be grab as much as you can now, because maybe it's only going to last another 6 months. I know personally for me, there's no point in me going out and doing a job, doing a show, or doing a TV show or anything, you know, because in Britain, first of all, they can't afford to pay you, and whatever they do pay you is taxed so highly that it ends up that you owe them money. So, you know, why bother working? But if my tax was cut, then I'd do 4 times as much work. I'd make 4 times as much money. They'd take less tax, but they'd make more from me. Yeah. But they cut their own throat. They do it all over the show. Every place you look in Britain, it's the same. You know, it's like, I mean, it makes me sick sometimes. It's like, you know, one big Coronation Street, and that's Britain. Now, in America, there's more people, and there's more good people, there's more bad people, but just generally, there's more of everything, so the more things get heard, more things get done, and, you know, it really pays.
Yes. Would you like to see the Beatles performing on stage live again?
I don't know. I wouldn't mind playing, you know. I like playing the guitar with people and singing a few songs and stuff. But I don't know as to going on clubs and things like that.
Yes. You can't split, can you?
No. Well, I think it's mental. It's a mental concept. But to physically or spiritually split is impossible. Well, maybe not physically. I mean, spiritually, it's, you know, you can't split.
No. So that doesn't bother you?
Because if you're listening, I'm the walrus too.
It doesn't take long to be from 17 to being 57. 40 years just goes like that. You know, now I understand about 90-year-old people who feel like teenagers, you know, because nothing changes. It's just the body that changes.
Yeah.
The soul in the body is there at birth and is there at death, and the only thing that's changed is the bodily condition. So, you know, all this stuff about where, you know, age groups fit or don't fit, or where the music belonging to age groups fits or doesn't fit, is stupid. It's all just in somebody's concept, and all they do is limit the potential of the marketplace or the audience.
This is to all of you. You seem to be doing a Bob Dylan in reverse. That is, you started out
You became popular playing rock and roll, and now you seem to be doing a lot more folk rock. Would you care to comment on that?
Folk rock?
It's not folk rock, honest. You know,
Yeah,
somebody said that the other day.
It isn't songs like Eleanor Rigby. And
No, the thing is that that thing about Bob Dylan's probably right, because in reverse, because we're getting more interested now in the content of the song, whereas Bob Dylan is getting more interested in rock and roll than he ever was. It's just, we're both going towards the same thing, I think.
You said that you and Dylan are heading towards the same thing. Where do you see your music going? What is it you're seeking? It seems to have changed.
But it's going, but I don't know, the thing is, it's going forward, you know, 'cause it's, I don't know towards what, it's got to go forward. We're trying to take it forward, and Dylan's trying to take his forward, but it just looks as though it's going backwards. No, I mean, you know, I'm not trying to be funny.
I have a question from behind. What are you going to do when you grow up, the man asks.
What's he...
Well,
we don't want to grow up.
What are you going to do?
If he doesn't think we're adult, you know, that's his opinion. But we are adult, and if the question was a joke, it wasn't funny. Whereas adult
Was it a joke?
is probably more so.
Was it a joke? Charlie?
Was it a joke?
You?
More or less a joke.
Well, you look adult enough to not ask questions like that.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the your image, the image scrimmage, and I'll direct this to anybody. How has your image changed since '63? Is it a little more? Is it the same?
An
bright
image
and
is how
shiny?
you see us, so you know you can only answer that.
You're
the only one that knows.
Who's that? Oh,
you.
oh
You.
well. No, I want to get your opinion. Is it a little tarnished now? Is it more realistic, or what would you say it is? I know I have my opinion,
We haven't
but
got any tags for our opinion.
We can't tell you our image, you know. We can only... Our image is what we read in the newspapers, and that's the same as you read, you know. We know our real image, which is nothing like our image.
Forget it.
There appear to be a much smaller number of fans outside the hotel, and the concert tomorrow night at Shea Stadium is far below a sellout. How do you feel about this?
Very rich.
Not being quite as popular as you were.
It doesn't matter, you know.
You make the same money? Well, I don't know. The thing is, you know, do you expect them to go on forever? You know, making more and more money, making more and more figures, bigger and bigger? They can't just go on forever.
If certain people have decided they don't like us after John's statement, then, you know, we don't
We'd
want...
like to get rid of
We'd
them.
rather just have people who like us and really like us rather than pretend to like us because of the in thing.
I'd like to direct this question to Messrs. Lennon and McCartney. In a recent article, Time magazine put down pop music, and they referred to Day Tripper as being about a prostitute, and Norwegian Wood as being about a lesbian. Now, I just wanted to know what your intent was when you wrote it, and what your feeling is about the Time magazine criticism of the music that is being written today.
We were just trying to write songs about prostitutes and lesbians, that's all. It was a song about lonely people, that one. You're talking about Ellen Rigby as well.
And it's a generalization anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, but it was just a song about one lonely person who happens to be this priest who's darning his socks at night, you know, and he's lonely, that's all there was to it.
And Eleanor was pretty lonely,
And
Paul.
Eleanor's
You
pretty
told me
lonely.
Eleanor was.
Yes, that's true. It was written because there are lonely people, and, you know...
We have to have another
song
track
about...
to fill up the LP.
That's what, anyway, what you said's right,
My question concerns money. I was wondering if you still have an arrangement with the U.S. Internal Revenue Department to pay your taxes to England through them. Another part of the question is, how much money have you grossed in your current U.S. tour, and is it true that you lost?
We don't know about
Money's got nothing
We don't
to
know
do
about
with
that. We don't do the money side of it, you know. Brian does that.
And we don't particularly worry about it. Tell us what we get in the end.
The tax think?
We pay tax and things, but we don't know how much or how much we've made or anything, you know, because if we were going to worry about that, we'd be nervous wrecks by now.
Do you feel you are slipping?
We don't feel we're slipping. Our music's better. Our sales might be less. So, in our view, we're not slipping, you know.
How many years do you think you can go on? Have you thought about that?
It doesn't matter, you know. The thing is...
Yeah, we just try and go forward. And
the thing is, if we do slip, it doesn't matter, you know. I mean, so what? You know, we slip. And so we're not popular anymore, so we'll be all sun popular, won't we?
This question is to John and Paul. Is there any special significance to the use of the term Yellow Submarine?
No, not really. It's a happy place, that's all. You know, it was just, we were trying to write a children's song. That was the basic idea, and there's nothing more to be read into it than there is in the lyrics of, you know, any children's song. Sparky, you know, it's the same kind of thing.
I got a tough question for Ringo. Your boy is a year old next month, right? September? What kind of gift does he want for his birthday?
Well, how do I know? He's not talking yet.
George, this is for Where the Action Is, the Dick Clark program.
Where the Action Is.
Dick Clark was going to be here in person today, but unfortunately he wasn't able to attend. So we'll just get a few questions. I'll later dub my voice out. Right over here to the left.
Yeah, okay.
Right. First of all, could you give us some ideas what you like to do in the spare time? When you get any time, what do you like to do?
Just relax. Nothing more. Play music and relax and eat.
What type of music do you prefer?
Sort of honky-tonk and country and western and Congo rhythms.
Out of all the country and western American stars, do you have a favorite?
Yeah, Buddy Holly. He's pretty good.
What do you think of the #1 country and western singer in this country, Buck Owens?
Oh yeah, Ringo likes him a lot, yeah. Dick Clark.
Out of all the sections of the country you've been in, do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I like California, naturally, because it's nice and sunny and hot and swimming pool. Very nice.
What about the girls here in Los Angeles? Do you think that they're a little bit different or possibly from other sections of the country?
I haven't seen any girls in Los Angeles. Only at a distance.
If you had a night off tonight and had an opportunity to go anywhere you would like to go here in Los Angeles, where do you think you would attend?
I don't know. I think I'd go to Hollywood Bowl.
Out of all the American entertainers, if you had a favorite, who would you like to see tonight, if it were possible, at the Hollywood Bowl?
Glenn Barry.
Thank you very much.
That's fine.
I just never thought of repercussions. I never really thought of it. I wasn't even thinking, even though I knew she was interviewing me, that she was going to, you know, that it meant anything.
What's your reaction to the repercussions?
Well, when I first heard it, I thought it can't be true. It's just one of those things like bad eggs in Adelaide and things. And then when I realised it was serious, I was worried stiff. You know, because I knew sort of how it'd go on, and the things that get said about it, and all those miserable-looking pictures of me looking like a cynic, and they'd go on and on and on, and it'd get out of hand, and I couldn't control it. You know, I can't answer for it when it gets that big, because it's nothing to do with me then.
A disc jockey in Birmingham, Alabama, who really started most of the repercussions, has demanded an apology from you.
He can have it, you know. I apologise to him if he's upset and he really means it. You know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I said it, really, for the mess it's made. But I never meant it as a lousy or anti-religious thing or anything. You know, and I can't say any more than that.
My position on violence is I don't believe in it. I think we all have violent tendencies. I think it can be channeled. I think violence begets violence, as proved by the various marches and things that that always end up with cops and people getting beaten up, or cops beating up people, or whatever it is. And I think marching and placards was okay for the 30s when people wanted bread, and then it sort of had some impact on people. But nowadays people are blasé about war, and they're blasé about placards and marching. And I think there's many ways of protesting, and this bed-in is one of them. Then we have an instrumental, which I've never done on my own before, which is called Beef Jerky. I think I've only ever done 2 before. That was Flying on Magical Mystery Tour, and George and I did one in Hamburg called Cry for a Shadow, so that's a very rare piece of work.